Hey, what's happening guys? My name is Doodles and in this video we're going to be taking a look at the Power Slinky electric guitar strings from Ernie Ball. And as with my other reviews, basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to string my guitar up now with these, and I'm going to give some initial thoughts on the strings, and then I'm going to play for 30 seconds or so, nothing too fancy, just to get a bit of a feel for the strings, to get sort of an initial impression of them. And then I'm going to go away for about 10 hours or so and play the strings, and then after that I'm going to play the same stuff again, sort of see what the tonal difference is, see if the strings are dead, see how I felt over the past 10 hours of playtime using the strings, and more importantly whether all 6 are still on the guitar, because one may snap in that 10 hours, which wouldn't be good, because guitar strings, they generally say, have about 20 hours of playtime in them before you should really start considering changing them, so hopefully they do hold up. But anyway, I'm going to string my guitar up and then I'll be back with you in just a little bit. Right, so before we get started with the little bit of playing that I'm going to do before I start my 10 hours of playtime, I just want to give you some initial thoughts that I had from restringing the guitar. And when I was tuning them up, when I was wrapping them around the peg, and when I pulled them, I noticed that the strings were very, very sharp, even though they're the same thickness as the Rotosound Reds. But that could just because my fingers have been so used to playing the Rotosound Reds over the 2 years that this, even though they're the same thickness, feel they're completely different to me. But one thing I do want to point out is that I actually went into this review with a lot of negative thoughts towards Ernie Ball strings. And back in the day, probably sort of in the mid-2000s, I used to go to a guitar shop to pick up my guitar strings before I discovered that you could just buy them on Amazon. It was so much cheaper. And I used to alternate between Ernie Balls and Rotosounds. Pretty much, I didn't have a preference, it was just whichever one came out of my mouth when I asked for a set of guitar strings. And it was either the Rotosound Pinks, I think, that were the 9s, and also the pink Ernie Balls, which are the Super Slinkies, which were the 9s. And I always found that the Super Slinkies snapped a lot sooner than the Rotosounds did. So that always gave me a very negative thought towards Ernie Balls. So when I went to go do this review, I wasn't really up for it. I thought, this isn't going to go too well. I don't really like Ernie Balls. But that was a little bit preemptive of me, because when I went to stretch the strings out, normally I'd pull on the guitar strings like so. So I'd do that a few times, I'd tune it up, I'd do that, I'd pluck the string, tune it back up to standard, I'd do that a few times, and once it starts to hold its tuning a bit better, I'd whittle about on it a bit, and sort of do a few bends, do a few riffs and that, and then while it's stretching out, I'd tune it back up, and I keep doing that until the strings sort of maintain tuning quite well. And I only stretched the strings out twice, I believe it was, and then I tuned the guitar up, and then I was actually watching a video on YouTube, so I had my amp on quite quiet, so I was playing about, and I wasn't really paying attention to what I was playing. I was playing some Guns N' Roses riffs, stuff like that, and after about 5 minutes of playing, I went to go tune my guitar back up, and because I didn't have the amp on loud, I couldn't tell whether it was even in tune or not. And then when I went to go tune it up, 4 out of the 6 strings were still perfectly in tune, even though the strings had only been stretched in about 5 minutes from actually going onto the guitar itself, which is pretty good, because even with the Rotosounds, which I really, really highly praise, it does take me a good sort of 5 minutes of stretching and about 5-10 minutes of playtime before they start to hold the tuning. So the fact that I did minimal stretching and was able to play and hold the tune out of 4 of the 6 strings, and to be fair, the other 2 strings might not have even been perfectly in tune because I was only stretching them out, I wasn't that fussed about the accuracy of the tuning. So on those initial impressions, that's really changed my opinion of these strings before we've even got into the review properly. Just on that note alone, if I was going to be gigging, these would possibly be the strings that I'd choose, because I knew that I'd probably be able to get through songs a lot better than possibly Rotosound without having to retune all the time. And that's saying something, considering I'm a huge fan of Rotosound. But anyway, it's not a shootout between the two. That's just merely an observation that these have already seem to hold the tuning very well. So anyway, I'm going to do a quick few riffs now for you guys, just to hear what they sound like when they're fresh on the guitar, and then I'm going to go away for about 10 hours or so of playtime, and then we're going to come back, do the same, and I'm going to give my final review on the strings. Once again, it's not a shootout against any other company, it's just my personal opinions on the actual strings. Right, so that brings me to the end of the review of the Ernie Ball Power Slinkies. I've got to admit though, before I conclude this video, this isn't the same set that you saw at the start of the video. I completely forgot about the review and I took the strings off to do a restring, and as soon as I did it the penny dropped and I was like, man, I can't believe I forgot about the review. So I had to string it back up with a new set, and I've used this over the last few videos that I've recorded, so the strings are sufficiently worn in, had about the same amount of play time, so I've got a pretty good grasp on how they handle after about 10 hours or so playtime. And I've got to say, tonally it is pretty much all there. These still sound absolutely fantastic. I did say on the Rotosound video though that they had a lot of tone left in them, and after I made the video I realised that they really didn't. They were pretty much dead. And the one thing Rotosound has over these though, I think the Rotosound would keep on going without snapping. I think it would take a lot to snap them, whereas I think these will probably snap a bit sooner, but tonally it's still there. So if you're a studio musician, rather not a musician, it's absolutely perfect because you're going to get the tone for a lot longer, and they stay in tune probably better than any other string I've tried. I picked up this guitar after not using it for a day or so to record a quick line in one of my songs, and it was still perfectly in tune, which really surprised me. So I'd say that has an advantage over the Rotosound, which had to tune up pretty much every take, whereas this one seems to go quite a while before dropping in tuning, which is fantastic. Like I said, perfect for studio-based musicians because they don't have to be tuned up as often. I can see why a lot of the big names use them on stage because, like I said, you can hammer these strings and tonally they just stay. And obviously, being a bigger name in the music industry, the likes of James Hetfield and that, they have techs that can change the strings out. So they change them fresh before they snap. So that's probably one of the reasons why they do use them. Like I said, tonally absolutely fantastic. They stay in tune. I do think they will snap a bit quicker than Rotosound, but they will sound better for a lot longer. These completely blew my expectations away, and I'll probably continue using Ernie Ball strings from now on. I am going to be checking out the reinforced plain string version of the Ernie Ball Power Slinkies next on my channel. I got them in the string box, monthly subscription box that I reviewed earlier on in the week. So make sure you check that out when that comes up. I'm going to be interested to see what the difference is between the reinforced and the regular Power Slinkies. It's going to be really interesting. I hope you guys look forward to it too. That brings me to the end of the video. Once again, hope you guys have enjoyed it. I thank you so much for watching. My name is Doodles, and I will see you guys next time. Hey guys, I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on my future videos. And if you want to check out a couple of the tracks I did while I was using these guitar strings, you can click on the top right hand side box, which is my Super Mario Overworld guitar cover. And you can click the bottom right hand side one, which is my Guile's theme from Street Fighter 2 cover. Both were really fun to do. I had so much fun doing them. If you do click on them, I hope you guys enjoy them, and I will see you guys very soon in the next video.